Welcome back. I think it's episode 63.
What's up, shitbags? Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in, for watching, listening, however you are. We can't be more happy and excited enough. For those that missed, everyone down at Firemanship, you guys missed a great conference. So we fortunately got to see our guests down there. So I'm sure we'll get into that conversation. But man, I wanted to shout that out. It was a fantastic conference. If you haven't been, you need to be. Next year, probably going to get even better each time. I mean, there's something for everybody. There's tens of 20s of 30s of classes. I don't even know how many hands-on there are, but
There's a lot.
there's a ton of sites. There's a ton of sites, so there's a ton of classes. There's something for everybody. The lectures are great. You need to be there. But anyway, enough rambling. Thank you to everybody watching. Thank you to our sponsors, Toxic Suppression, Crew First Culture, Jobtown Graphics, Taylor's Tins. Wouldn't be here without you. Again, keep checking out Hazmat Guys, Command Media, all that fun stuff. Without further ado, let's get to the man of the hour. Let's bring in Mike. Hey, Mike.
Hello, boys.
What's up?
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, I didn't really have a choice to force me to. I am being held here against my will.
You weren't supposed to say that. Now we're going to have to record this. Mike, why don't you go ahead and give a little introduction about yourself?
Oh, boy, we're talking about me. I am just a guy, first and foremost. Bios and stuff are not my strong suit. I really don't like talking a lot about myself, but I am a volunteer in northern Wisconsin. I have been for 16 years. I am now the rank of assistant chief, which I'm also our training chief. So I help oversee all of our EMS and fire trainings with a great group of people who help me out as well. It's not just me. I also am a backstep in Iron Mountain, Michigan, work for the city part-time and as a firefighter EMT. I've been an instructor and contributor with Midwest Fire Tactics and Training since 2018 and a bunch of other stuff. I was a very, very, very small part of the Book of Search as a contributing author. And I've been diving my whole life. That's one of the things that I like to talk about because that was a big thing for me back in the day and really kind of led me on the path of teaching and wanting more out of training. And I also am very fortunate and blessed to teach with the Oath Keepers cadre and get to teach at Firemanship every year. So very, very blessed and very fortunate for all of that. And I can only do that because I am surrounded by people who are amazing and who have given me the opportunities to really excel and be seen.
Awesome. I said we were going to talk about it. Let's get into it. How great was Firemanship this year?
I really think it gets better every year. I think that seeing new faces is fantastic. Getting to see old faces and friends, even if it's once a year, it's like any of those conferences that you pick back up with, and it's just like you saw them yesterday. I really think that for anybody listening, it doesn't have to be Firemanship. It can be a smaller conference. It could be something like Heart of the Lakes. It could be something like Oath Keepers. It could be any of these wide variety of conferences that you can go to practice the skill of firemanship, to just be better at what you do and meet like-minded people. And for me, it is such a breath of fresh air to see people talking about firemanship or this really new crop of young, excited people going to FDIC or going to any of these other ones that you watch online. Because if we can't share this and keep this going, then we are truly going to lose the battle. And that's one thing, and the hill I will die on. We have this bubble. We operate in this bubble heavily. And by operating in this bubble heavily, we get to interact with all these like-minded people. And we get to interact with everybody who talks about the winning. And we're doing so great, and we're moving the football forward, and everything's great. I challenge you to step outside the bubble. I challenge you to find somebody outside of that bubble and convince them to go to Firemanship. convince them it's worth a week of their time, 2 days, 1 day, whatever it might be. Because for us to continue to win and take the job back and do everything that all these people who are way smarter than me, who are way up here and I'm somewhere down here, that they talk about all the time, if we can't do that one at a time, Justin McWilliams said that the other day, and I saw he wrote that on one of the posts I had commented on, we win by one. So this year I brought one. Next year I've already got another one in mind. And the year after another one. And these departments that are sending 10, 15, 20, awesome. Great on you. Go find those departments, because you guys are bought in at that point. You guys are like dialed. It's just like, all right, we're accepting the culture. We're accepting good things and changes. But go find a department near you. Go find a department in the county and find somebody that you think would buy in. Get that person to buy in. Have them come with you. And again, if it's a money issue, there's scholarships. If it's a matter of like getting 4 dudes or 4 ladies in a room together and you just have to sleep on a floor, who cares? You're at firemanship for a week. And the amount of change that you can influence on somebody and change their career and change their life, that if you can't go home and feel accomplished in doing that, because now you've just taken a bit of yourself or a bit of the department or a bit of the culture and handed it off, because now that person's going to bring one. And to do it in maybe a department that doesn't accept that and know that, like I was that guy for years. That's how I found everybody, because I was alone and I saw all these, like, this is back in the day. So it was like YouTube, not Instagram. I refuse to download TikTok. Call me old, but I'm not going to do it. But we didn't really have a lot of that. And a lot of the bigger guys that you see that I'm so fortunate to like get to see and shake hands with and break bread with now, that those were my heroes. Like those were the ones that I would learn from, because like I was a classic YouTube guy. Like I'd go on YouTube. I didn't know anything about like super aggressive vertical ventilation. I didn't know anything about masking up with gloves. I didn't know anything. But then I saw that, and all of a sudden I got to see these conferences that no one knew anything about, or these classes that were just coming out. And I pushed myself to be the only one. And that's how I met my training partner, who is, I consider a mentor, and I consider somebody who pushes me to be better. And that's, he had Midwest Fire Tactics and Training, and he was an hour and a half down the road, and we met in Ohio, and the rest is history. But like, you don't know how you're going to be able to foster these friendships with your peers, with mentors, with whatever. And you're never going to really know how to push yourself to that next level or really find out what your true potentials could be. Because like, I look at some of the guys on my department and I'm just like, wow, like, and I tell them like, in a couple of years, you could be a phenomenal fireman, but just keep grinding, just keep doing what you're doing. And a little bit of his joking, kind of giving him a hard time, but a lot of it's serious. Like you keep pushing, like this is going to be good stuff. And like, you're really going to take it to the next level. But what I try to remind everybody is you don't know who's sitting in the room watching you. You don't know who's sitting in that chair that you're going to influence. That could be the next XYZ person. That could be the next speaker at FDIC. And to stay humble in your roots, to know that you're doing a good thing, like that is being done at firemanship, and to see all of those people's lives changed because of the effort and work of the Red Shirt Army and Cody and Andrea and Jeff and Ashley being able to do what they do and change lives in so many facets, to not only be a good person outside of the fire service and have a life outside of that and profess that and push that and be rooted in good ethics, moralities, faith, Family, but also be a kick-ass fireman. Just be good at the job. And that's all that we care about. Just go out there and try. And I think that having that ability and seeing what that change is, and being able to now see some of those people kind of kicking up and doing good things on their own, like that, we're winning. But we're winning in the bubble. We have to keep stepping outside of the bubble and finding those people that otherwise wouldn't go. Maybe don't even know about. Oh,
Jeez.
jobs.
Jesus. I'm gonna have to cut that out before we just deafen everyone.
Man, I was on such a roll. Now I'm distracted. Now it's like, where's the fire? So yeah, I mean, I have a great time with it always, but like, I love talking to people. I love seeing people's experiences. How was it for you guys?
Oh,
It was great.
It was awesome.
It always is.
It's just like you said. I feel like every year it gets better. I mean, it sounds cliche, but it really is. It just even from our side when we're there, just kind of helping with the sites themselves, like the organization, crews, everything. Like we were multiple times. You're like, geez, is this it? Are we done? Are we done setting things up? Like this feels like we still got more work to do. And so even from that side, just seeing how smooth things are starting to operate. I mean, now that you've got third year of like the same people, doing their stuff, like the sites are running smooth, the classes I think are smooth. We were sharing beers with both sites afterwards. Like, we just were all hanging out there getting some insane wisdom, and it's awesome. I mean, it is such a great group of just everybody. Like you said, it's that bubble, but yeah, I've already been talking to guys around here that I want to make sure I bring down everything, and it's so cool just to see it continue to grow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I want to jump in now because I think it's going to stay along the same lines of kind of what you're talking about is how you got started and I got into this passion. Tell us about where Inglorious Bastard started. Your version. We all know the movie. We all know where that. But let's hear about your Inglorious Bastards.
I was pissed off and I was mad. And if you ask anybody, it's no secret. I'm a bit of a black sheep. I would challenge the status quo. I would ask questions why. I would be somewhat abrasive. I didn't know how to talk to people, but it was because it was constantly this at my department with certain people. And stuff just started happening. And it's just like, man, like, I'm just so mad. And it's just like, I don't know what else I can do. And I was just like, you know what? After starting to go to conferences, after starting learning about stuff, I was just like, I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one because I've met people like me. And once I found that breath of fresh air, that's kind of where it's just like, I really started kind of putting together like, what would something look like where I could help others, even if I could help one person, because I struggled for a good decade plus. And I talk to a lot of people who are going through it, or I get phone calls and it's just like, hey, this is going on. I can't handle it anymore. Having that deciding edge and that deciding factor of when to leave, when to move on, when to stay and fight, seeing what the marathon can look like for yourself. I chose to sit and fight because it's like, I know if I change some things or I see things, change, like I'm just going to keep pushing on the wall and I'm just going to wait till things change. But in the meantime, how can I help everybody else? And that's where it kind of started. And I was very, very fortunate during the COVID era to be a part of the Quarantine Firefighter Conference. And I started with a 45-minute lecture over that. And Kyle Sampson gave me an opportunity to do that because like he was dialed in. He's like, this is something that I think people want to hear. And it was really intimidating being in the same lobby on Zoom as like Steve Robertson, Kurt Isaacson, and like all the people at that time. And still like, these are the guys. And it's just like, Todd Edwards, that's where I first met him. He's just like, those guys are like, I think you got something here. Just keep rolling with it. And that gave me a lot of motivation where it's just like, all right, like people are like listening and they're bought in, but it's like, it's 45 minutes. Like, what else can I do here? And it was so hard to get that over the computer because like you're not getting feedback.
Yeah.
So once I started doing it in person and talking to people, it's just like, are you reading my diary? Like you must be reading like directly from it because this is exactly what we complain about. So I'm not saying that anything that I talk about is new, different, or otherwise. A big inspiration for me was Fully Involved. I probably went to Mark's class, the 8-hour ones, the regular lectures, the first time he was at FDIC. Like it had to be 5-6 times. and I just ate it up because I'm just like, this is a guy that gets it. Like, now what can I do to do this at my department? And it was really tough because number one, when you are that guy, it does not matter if you have the best ideas since sliced bread, because it's you, no one's going to listen.
Yeah.
The delivery system is really not good. So I didn't figure that out early, because I'd go to these classes like a nozzle forward and I'd be like, hey, this is the lay we need to change. This is the type of hose we need to use. These are the nozzles. And it would just be totally shot down. And it's like, okay. So like I had this epiphany as I was building this class, is like, every time I go to a conference, every time I go somewhere else, I keep doing this to my skill set and myself, but everybody else stays here and I'm not doing this. And by not doing that and bringing everybody else up to my level around me, it's just like, great, I'm on a fire scene. No one knows what I'm doing. No one knows what live fire layout is. No one knows how to push. No one knows when I yell bump up. No one knows when I say back wall. They're like, are you on drugs? What does that mean? What are you doing? Because what you don't know. It took a long time, but it finally started changing, because I figured out, like, if I go put a bug in so-and-so's ear, he's really in high favor with the chief. It doesn't matter that it's my idea. It doesn't matter that, like, I think this tool is great and I have the personal tool. All that matters is it ends up on the truck.
Yep.
All that matters is we are doing it. I don't care about credit, because guess what? If it's there, we're winning. That's all that matters. So I started traveling with this a little bit and started doing some presentations with it, and people really bought into it. And I just wanted to create an environment where people could talk freely about their problems, whether it be venting, whether they're looking for something, and just be given kind of a way out to figure out what their next steps might be. And I don't have all the answers. I never do. Like I tell everybody, number one, I'm not an instructor. I'm a student. You teach me stuff. I teach you stuff. Like, but I'm still out here grinding. I'm already looking at classes online. Like, okay, I want to go take this class. I want to go do this. I want to take this class, because teaching's a blast and instructing's a blast too. But like, I still have to sharpen the iron like everybody else. I still have to train. I still have to do stuff. And I feel that people who aren't able to show the skill set of expectations, where it's just like, wow, they look like a soup sandwich with what they're doing. How am I supposed to look? Like, it's not good. So you have to keep grinding. And I think that's super important. But I tell everybody that, and I always try to tell everybody as well, like when they're going through this, that your scope of practice should not limit your knowledge. Just because you are told you can't, just because you don't do it, should not limit the knowledge that you can possess. Because like after 2 days of firemanship, it's just like, all right, I and we want you to be free thinkers. Mm-hmm. I don't want you to be freelancers. Freelancing's the best thing there is. Let's be real. But free thinkers now allow me, as a senior man, company officer, command officer, to look at a crew and be like, I need you to go do a vertical vent. That means that I need to grab ladders. I need to grab saws. I need to grab hand tools. This is what we're going to do. This is the discussion that we're going to have. And then I shut up, because now I'm going to watch poetry in motion, because everybody knows what to do when I ask them to do that. But when you encounter something, or when you're making a decision, I don't want to have to be there to tell you how big of a hole to cut. Mm-hmm. I don't want to have to be there when you punch through and all of a sudden you have a roof over and you have to make another decision on the fly. That information would be great for me to know. But then again, I want you to know what to do. Mm-hmm. So we, as a collective group of people who are sharing the mission and doing this, are trying to bless that on to the next generation, and people, when they take it back, to just be like, when I look back, and I can tell you, especially in the volunteer world, I know it's tough, because I look back and sometimes I'm like, a little bit of a green crew, not as much cowboy stuff today, I guess. But like, I can look back at sometimes and I see I'm like, all right, everything is game. Like, we are going to go have some fun. Um, and it's tough, but being able to kind of combo that together and being able to always be humble through that, and kind of have that safe space to talk to people and feel like, again, I want to be a leader that leads through humbleness, that leads through an open door, and that's somebody that can have a conversation with you person to person, and you not be too afraid to not be able to come to me, or you're like, oh my god, he's going to lose his shit on a call again because like that's just what he did. I don't want to do that. Like that's not how I operate. We should be able to talk. Like maybe I can get a little bit excited. I think we all can, but like I can look back on calls and be like, I really lost my cool there. I need to do better. And I think that comes with a lot. And like I said, I just wanted to dream up a program where people could have honest conversations about it, take little tidbits back, learn how to talk to people better, use another person, and just learn how to survive the firehouse culture, because the top toxicity that we see with a lot of the burnout is not going to be the calls. It's going to be, I'm dreading going to the firehouse because I have to interact with so and so. I am dreading to go to work because I am working with a crew that I can't stand. That's what's killing us, because now it's just like you lost before you even walk in the door. I skip into the door because it's like, when are we getting a fire next? Who's ready for a pin job? And it's like, oh my god, you wish bad people on things. And this has been said time and time again, but like I don't want to practice a sport for my entire life and never play a game. Like if it's going to happen, please let it happen in our district so we can go do stuff, because that's the true test, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where it came from. And again, I was mad. So I just decided to try. And instead of pouting and wallowing and having pity for myself, maybe I can make other people better from it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? So you have to get everyone to your the mode you want to work at.
100%.
Just get that delivery, like you said, which I'm working on myself because I can get a little too passionate at times.
It's so hard. It's so hard. Yeah, it is. And I think that's one of the most difficult things, because like, how many people do you think went to firemanship and went back to a firehouse where it's just like, oh, that's big city stuff. Oh, that's new stuff. We're not going to do that. And now they use that 1 week to survive the next 6 months or the next 12 months. Because they have another, but that's it. But now your battery is getting zapped.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think it's imperative that people go outside of their bubble. Because, like, let's be real, like, especially this time of the year, everyone's got picnics, everybody's got certain things going on and whatnot. So, like, everybody can go, water fight and have a good time, or run picnics and things all great and yada, yada, yada. But like, what's it like the rest of the year? Like the camaraderie might be good right now because everyone's working together, but man, when the calls aren't coming in and the grind is there and everybody's at each other's throats, and now you got to come back to it and you have all these great ideas. Let's say you're going back to leadership. That's just like, we don't do that. Like, why would we do that shit? It's just like, because it's the greatest thing and we're saving people and things are awesome. It's just like, yeah, but we never needed it here. Yeah, we're not going to do that. But you told me that I could, help out with training if I went here. So why else would you pay for it? It's like, so-and-so can take care of it. They're in charge of training. Then you talk to the person in charge of training. They're like, I'm not interested in doing that.
All right.
So, that's the tough thing. Those are the walls to break down. And those are the ones, and you have to do it very tactfully. I feel that doing it by yourself, you're going to invite more people to come in and ask questions. And if you're humble about it and you just show them, be like, hey, these are the reasons why I'm doing it this way. Hey, why don't you try this? Oh, I know we have pike poles, but do you want to try this New York hook? Because, this is the reason I think it's cool. And then all of a sudden someone looks at it, they try it, and they're like, why don't we have 1,000 of these?
Right. I think grabbing a hold of your pro, you're not your pro, but you're releasing your members and the people willing to come out and like show them something. I think that's their great start. If you're kind of figuring out those roadblocks, is just, hey, come down the bay with me. Let's go over some stuff.
I also think that where there's one, there's two, right? Just like how we search. And I have a very, very dear friend who is on our department who went through that classic old guy syndrome where he was crotchety. Well, wait, he's still crotchety and he's still grumpy. So I'm not going
He's
to give
still
him too
old
much.
too.
He's still old. He is still old. But that's the one thing is like his call volume dropped to almost nothing. And he wasn't doing the trainings he was supposed to be doing and sharing his knowledge. And it's like his guy's a wealth of knowledge, like original member for EMS and stuff. And those are the type of people that a lot of people could write off very easily. And it's just like, they're a recliner pilot. They're here for the free popcorn and ice. But things changed at the department and he had to step back up. And the motivation that he got when he had to step back up, and I had this conversation with him, is just like, he makes every call. He is down there right now doing office hours, like making sure that we're taken care of, making sure that like all of the LOSA stuff is figured out. Like, guy's a rock star, like super underappreciated. Like, he is amazing. And I've had the conversation where it's just like, I am proud of you. Like, I'm so proud of you because like you could have just been like, bye, Felicia, and gone and taken all that. But instead, nose to the grindstone, didn't give up and came back. You might have to give up on some people, but overall, at the end of the day, don't give up on everyone, because just like those young people, there might be those old guys that get revitalized. And if you see that glint and you can see that fire coming back, whether you're empowering them to help with training, driving, mechanic, whatever it might be, that might be the fire that sends them back to like the top of the leaderboard for stuff. And it's just like, wow, where did this come from? And now you have a guy who might be on 15, 20, 30 years sharing bits and pieces of knowledge with you. Or like, we always call him like the encyclopedia of the town, because it's just like, well, this is, Jimmy's house, and Jimmy used to buy beer for us when we were kids, and this is the reason that this is like that. It's like, how do you know this stuff? Like, where did this come from? So it's pretty funny. But again, don't give up on everybody, because there are some that are lost, and I'll give you that. But to do a broad stroke of the paintbrush and give up on everybody, I don't think is fair, because some of those ones that are sitting there just might have been mistreated, you can save. Because think about it, if you're being mistreated, what happened to the ones before you? What happened to the ones that are senior to you that are still there? What about them? Maybe you could grab their ear. And I'll tell you this, having the respect of the old guys and the senior men, whether you look at the career side or you look at the volunteer side, that means a lot. Because like, we have a lot of original founding members on our department, and these are guys that literally knocked on doors when they were told that the area coverage would never happen. Other departments can cover for you. They were just like, nope, we're going to start our own department. And they knocked on every door. They started their own fundraisers. They bought their own equipment. So to have that level of respect from guys like that means a hell of a lot more to me than someone on Instagram. Like, I'm thrilled and blessed that people throw a heart up or a like or whatever it's called. I don't even know. I'm sorry, I'm old. A like, we'll call it a like. But that's the thing is like, it's awesome and I get to interact with people. But like, when you're in your own house, it's like, what do they really think of me? I saw this post the other day, is like, what are people going to say when they see your name on the roster? Like, that means a lot. And like, when someone's coming for you, like, who do they want on that engine? Who do they want on that truck? And if your name's on that list, that's a lot of respect gained. But it takes years to get to that, and being tactful in how you do it. And again, I've learned. So like, I want people to not do what I did years back, because it's just like, man, the progress I could have made. Oh,
and another thing on that is the senior man. If you're on a run, find something that they're like really good at. Like, for instance, I got a captain who's really good at fire inspections and like building construction and fire systems and stuff like that, and just ask them like, hey, okay, where's the FDC on this place? And he tells you, oh, it runs through all this shit. Like, oh, fucking cool. Like, that's training right there, even on a fire alarm
100%.
or a medical run or something like that. So find those guys that, are passionate about something, or they know a lot about something, and ask questions like that and give them involved in the training too, to kind of teach you, the younger men and women, on the ground too, to get them kind of more involved.
Absolutely. 100%. Because again, like, that's knowledge, right? some of these guys go away and all of a sudden they knew something particular about a building that you're going to. And all of a sudden they left and now you don't know that it's an add-on or like,
Mhm.
I can think back to one fire where you go to this commercial property and you look at it, it's like, oh, it's a bar and restaurant. But what you didn't know is back when it was such and such bar, it was just a train car. Then they built the building around the train car. Then they put on masonry around that building. It's just like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So it's not just a building. But again, how else do you know that unless you talk to the old guys and involve them? That's a great point.
Sure.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the whole reason we're here. It's the whole reason this podcast came around. There was
Yep.
two, and it's a good thing. It's great that the department, the fire service is young now, but there was such an influx of young that no one was really thinking about all the old that was leaving. And
Yep.
that, like you said, they did their time, they were done. And all of a sudden it's like, holy cow, we've got an average age of in the 20s on this department. What's what do we do?
And that's a terrifying thing when it's just like, oh my God, no one knows what to do. It's all on me to get these people up to speed. And that's the thing is like, we will have some ebbs and flows coming up of a lot of senior experience leaving. But if you don't archive that somehow and you don't involve them and you don't keep that going and have like your department historians, it's gone.
Yep.
That's why, and I know this comes into the career side a lot. That is why you are good at making coffee, because if those guys show up, they always get a seat at the table. You will go out of your way to make them a pot of coffee. You'll grab them a soda. You will make popcorn and you will listen. And you don't need to say anything else. You will listen, because if they come in and they start talking, you will get golden nuggets, or even to listen to the old war stories.
Yeah.
That's great. Like, I'll spend a couple hours just doing that.
Absolutely. Kind of sticking to the mentality of this line of work, because especially it's something I've seen a lot. We all see a lot. We all talk about it. How do you maintain the compassion side in this line of work? Because that is just how we see burnout.
I think that empathy fatigue, that's a real thing. I can vividly think to a couple medical calls, like right now as I sit here, where it's just like, I had it turned on full blast. It's, a little old person, whatever. And it's just like, oh, I fell. Can I have a drink of water? And it's a glass of vodka. It's like, okay, you burned me. All right, good. Got it. Like just another run of the mill. I turned on my empathy full blast. I think that's a really tough one, because I think that people have different burnout levels, if you will.
Yeah.
I really think that when we start looking at it, and this goes along with a conversation with a group that I'm a part of in the text threads and whatnot of the world. People tend to be very negative. And I'm not going to say I'm an angel and I'm an internal optimist. If you ask my dad, he'll always be like, why are you so morbid? Like, why are you such a pessimist? Be like, because that's reality. The world's a terrible place. But I think that going into the firehouse, positive. Going out on medical calls, positive. Going to fire calls, positive. Going to inspections, whatever you do, trying to maintain a positive standard and be there for the people around you, I think is extremely important, because I feel that will keep you in a better mental space longer. I think that if you are starting to see that fatigue, and I tell this a lot to like our members on the volunteer side, is just like, if you need to take a leave of absence, if you need a mental health check-in, because like I'm no better. I mean, I've been on the road for 10 days. I went straight to a 48. And then it's just like, I come back to do landscaping stuff. It's like, yesterday I had a surprise 13-hour day. And it's just like, I wonder what my kids look like. I'm in their room right now. I commandeered their room and kicked them out of here, one of them. But it's just like, and he leaves for a hockey tournament tomorrow. So it's just like, great, I've seen you for a couple hours. But I think it's so important because, and I can't explain it, and I don't know if anybody can, but like, I feel so called that like I'm one of the people that is dependent upon, that you're going to see at every call, that you're going to see at every training. And when I don't show up for the one, it's like the end of the world, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But if my 100% is someone else's 50%, and that's the best they can give, that's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay to not be at everything. It's okay to not go to 1,000 fundraisers and do all of this stuff, because anybody whose life is 100% revolving around whatever activity it might be is doing it wrong, because they have nothing else behind the scenes. And I think that when you look at whether it be family, different hobbies, something that defines you in life, like, it needs to be that. And I think that when you can walk away from the firehouse and totally disconnect, it's very difficult to do, especially for those who are bought in. Those who are bought in, like, we feel like it's like, oh my God, I missed that call. What happened? Tell me about it. Or,
Yeah.
I'm going to call and just be like, oh, hey, I heard so-and-so was talking about this and this and that. It's like you're always dialed in, but like, it's okay to turn the pager off. It's okay to turn the phone off. It's okay if you look at it and you just make sure that people are covering and everything is great. It's just like, I'm going to sleep through the night on this one. Like, I don't need to go to this lift assist. It's more important to me to do that. So I think that trying to find the delicate balance, it's very difficult. I'm a horrible example. Don't be me. Like, I'm
Same way.
Yeah.
way too involved. And like, I was thinking back, like, as I looked through some of my old pictures, like, I could remember like the training years when I was like FDTN, nozzle forward, oath keepers, brothers in battle, like any of these classes, Madison firemanship conferences, like anything that was happening, I'm paying and going. And in retrospect, I am very fortunate that it made me who I am today. But it's like, man, what else did I miss?
Yeah.
I think
And that's the problem, is like, you could tell that to anybody, but it's just like, I know that the world will continue going on without me. If I'm not there for the one call, it's hard to swallow. It's really hard to swallow, especially if it's just like, man, if I just left this birthday, if I just left this. But that's the thing, is then you get there, and again, we're the best complainers that exist.
Yeah.
So like, I'm going to complain about it, or I'm going to complain about this, but I had to be there. So it's one or the other. So I'm trying to be better and more positive, and again, we have other life. Like, I think that if you see somebody being super negative or, super turned off to stuff, what else is going on in their life? Like, one of the first things I try to ask my people is just like, how are your kids? I know you have a resort going. How's the resort? Oh, it's busy. It's like, okay, that comes first. Like, if you need anything, we're here to talk. Or if you need to take a break, that's okay. Take 6 months, take a few weeks, whatever it might be. Take a couple months and like get squared in and then come back. Cause I would rather you come back at your 100% for whatever you can give to the department, versus like having to listen to people behind your back with stuff, or get burnt out on the forefront of calls and constantly running the same medicals and going to so-and-so's house because they keep falling. And now you just have nothing left in the tank to give.
Yeah. I think a lot of people in Scraper are really type A personalities, and it's hard to say no, right? I'm one of those people. I cannot say no. And I've just been thinking to myself, like, I got to say no more because I'm burning myself out. And once I get burnt out, you're burnt out, right? So just learning to say no can go a long way, and find stuff that you want to focus on more, and not get too full of a plate, because it fucking sucks when you're pulling those 13, 14-hour days every day of your life. Your body is not used to doing that, right? You got to take a break. You got to take a mental break here and there.
And I totally agree. And I think that again, we go back to it, and this makes the full circle, is that it's not just the calls. It's having to deal with 30 other type A personalities, 30 other people that are doing this. Everything's a competition. It's just like, wow, I stretched the door in 59 seconds. It's like, okay, I'm going to get 57. Oh, I'm going to beat your mask up. It's constant, right? So that's the thing, is like having that balance and having those other things to do, and being able to disconnect and just be like, oh, did you hear what's going on in the neighborhood? No, I don't have my pager turned on open today, or I'm not listening to the radio, and that's okay. When they call and they need me, then I'll determine if I can go, or if I'm at work and it's like, oh my God, we're going to the same frequent flight. I think that it's important, and I get to say that from a new guy perspective, which is weird, but man, it's cool. It really is cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting more into the technical question that we got for you, that I'm very excited to hear your answer. If you could make any firefighter basically every firefighter will say in the country, master one skill, what would it be and why?
Boy, that's a tough question.
That's a ChatGPT question.
Yeah, of course. Just, yeah. You went to the bottom of the barrel.
I was just about to give you credit on that, Brennan. Don't tell me you put that into ChatGPT. There's no
You
way
went to the bottom of the barrel.
I'm using my resources. Fuck. All right.
Yeah. You went to the bottom of the barrel for guests, so it's just like, man, we've got nothing for this guy. No one's asking questions. ChatGPT.
I do it for a lot of things. I was like, oh, give me some
I knew you didn't want
examples.
Senator Burns.
Perfect.
Jeez.
So,
resources.
One skill. I'm going to go with the assumption that I'm getting someone who's out of fire school, that knows how to put gear on, that knows the importance of being dressed quickly. Maybe they can't mask up with gloves on, but they understand the importance of being quick. I would say, since everyone has an engine and not everybody has a dedicated truck, I would say the one skill, even though the truck's work is the Lord's work and it's the best there is, being good at your engine competencies at the most basic level that exists. Not worrying about being a boss, not worrying about being a senior, not worried about just be a good firefighter, period. And if we can encompass that as a skill, that's literally all that matters. I am not a chief. I am a firefighter. I am not a captain. I am a firefighter. I am not anything else but that. If you can be good at that, and you can love the process of getting good at that, and figuring out how to stretch faster, where to put the water, why to put the water, in certain places, understanding what you're looking at, understanding the type of lays and what you do off of the engine, and just being good at that, because I feel that a lot of your engine skills you could be tasked with can cross with the truck quite a bit. I think if you're good at that, everything else will fall into place. You will gain respect. You will gain trust, which is huge, because I'm a big one that if I'm a company officer, I really don't want to have to hold your hand. I want to be able to come squeeze your shoulder and say, you got it? And they say, yeah. And I go, I'll be right back. And I'm going to go do a quick search, or I'm going to go do something else. And I'm going to trust you that you know what's going on. And if you don't, we have the type of relationship that you can have a conversation with me, which I've had people say before, being like, I'm really not comfortable right now. Okay, give me a couple more seconds to do X, Y, Z, and we can back out, or we can do this. But knowing that you're a good firefighter and knowing that you have trust within your command structure, whether it be a line officer or a chief, that will catapult you far above and beyond anything that you could ever want to do in this job, because your base set of skills is so good that you can be called upon to do any task on the fire ground and do it effectively and efficiently without someone holding your hand because you were too concerned about promoting. You were too concerned about going to that side of the house versus this. Or, you got back and you want to play Xbox or watch TV. Like, okay, let's get back. And we have a workout to crush. We have mask ups to do. Like, just be a good firefighter. And especially if you can do that off of the engine and really work on those core competencies, give me that person who's pumped about that every day of the week, because we're going to go crush it. We're going to go do good things. And I'm going to have the trust in you that now I can go do a little bit of cowboy stuff on my own. And I trust that if something, I get in a bad spot or we have something that's legit, I know that I've got the A team with me. I know that, like, if we're in the house together, we're going to affect really good positive things and potentially really good outcomes for victims and property alike.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, we're getting towards the end here, so we've got the two most important questions First off, the question being from our previous guest, and then second, the question that you've got to come up with. So, the question from our previous guest is from Logan Hinkle, and obviously he's from a little more southern, where snow is foreign to them,
I'll talk slower.
including.
I will talk slower when I answer this, just for him.
But his question is specifically geographically based. What challenges do you guys have in the winter months, and how do we overcome them?
How do you fight fire in the heat? It's awful. It's
Right?
the worst.
Right?
The cold is the best. Like, I can take layers off. I can change them. I can stay warm by a heater. Day to day, in my opinion, day to day, and you guys know, like moderate cold, whatever.
Yeah.
When we get frigid and you start having some major issues, like driving a truck a mile down the road will freeze everything.
Mhm.
And now you don't have enough butane in the world to thaw a tender, or you took the aerial and all of a sudden the aerial's frozen. All you can do is push water through the pipe and you can't even pump it because it's frozen. I think that challenges, I think, are a lot of unique things. Like, how often do people think about snow weight load on a roof if you have to vent it and now it's wet and it's burning? Do you send people up there? What's your level of comfortability with that? I think that that's an extreme challenge when we start talking about ventilation, knowing appropriate horizontal ventilation techniques, but also taking into consideration like the load of snow that you could have on a roof that's now weakened. And now if you have to send somebody up there to cut a hole, that's a big thing. Ice is a big thing. So slips, falls, things like that. I think that, and I hope that he appreciates this answer. I really think that none of that for a good aggressive, I'm not going to use the word aggressive, a well-trained department that trains and is prepared. I don't think that that's going to hinder them in what they're doing too much, because they are expecting the worst possible scenarios. They have contingencies in place. So one thing, let's talk about like snowstorms. Do you have a dedicated town employee or town truck or private service that will run in front of the fire trucks for an EMS or fire call and make sure that you're plowed out and you can get there? And if so, great on you. If not, maybe plan for that. That's a big part of the pre-plan. Like, maybe the town guys are listening. You tell them like, hey, if we get a fire or we have a medical, like, what do we do? Access is a big thing for those of us who run medical in the winter, especially with trauma season, which is also snowmobile season. Access is extremely difficult. So having a really good UTV, ATV, off-road something, but also we talk about being a good fireman, being good at medical. Like, it's okay to be good at both. It's okay to like both. Fun fact about me, I started on the EMS side before I started on the fire side. That was something that I wanted to do before that. And I think being good at medical, like, hey, we are going to give a salvaged patient to the ambulance so that we can fly them and they have a really good outcome, versus just like, well, we're 20 miles back. We have no idea what we're going to do. Like, that's not the time to figure that out. Do that in training.
Yeah.
So that's a big one. I think that you have a lot of unique problems with ice rescue. We do that a lot with Midwest Fire.
Yep.
Ice rescue is a big one. We teach a lot of classes for just people to be ready for that. And I think something that's cool and unique that probably would blow people's mind who never see ice is what does a tender operation look like, and what kind of equipment are you going to have so that you can drill a hole in the ice, take a portable pump out there, maybe do a relay with it because you got to pump it up a boat landing, getting it to a tender. Because I can tell you here, I've got 13 hydrants and the water pumps aren't the greatest. So like, we could drain the tower very quickly on a fire. So we will be running tandem water supply with tenders. And I know that we do it against a stopwatch, but like, how fast can I get everything off the truck, drill a hole and get water moving so that I can fill stuff. I mean, that's all realistic stuff. I am going to catch some heat. I would not recommend masking up before you get out of the engine or the truck, because if your mask is not treated and if your mask freezes up, good luck. Because now it's not just the fog that's in there that you can normally air out. It's ice. It's frozen.
Yep.
And that's not going to fix itself quickly. Your regulator could freeze. So again, thinking about that stuff, masking up with gloves at the door. And again, it's winter. So like, why wouldn't you have gloves on? Or are you going to take your gloves off to grab something in -40? I'm not. So I think that that's all realistic stuff to have good conversations about. And again, if they know, like, get an inch of snow down there or something that's like a 0-degree day, everything shuts down and it's Armageddon. So like, learn a little bit and do some research on, what's plan B if this freezes? What's plan B if we can't do this? What is another thing? How are you going to ladder a house to go to the roof or Division 2 if somebody just shoveled the roof and there's 6 or 7 foot banks all the way around? That's another one. It's like, well, how are we getting in the window? What ladder are we going to use? What kind of an angle are we going to need? Because now, yeah, it's hard packed snow and I might be able to reach the window, but maybe I need a VES ladder just to do a window initiated search because it's 10 feet high and I only need to capture another 4 or 5 feet. So I can take a little ladder and do that. Now it's hot. There's a lot of stuff to think about with that.
Yep.
I would say my best recommendations, especially if you're not used to cold, when winter hits, have an extra bag. So you've got an extra hood, extra gloves, change a shirt, change a sock, change underwear, whatever you might need. If anybody could go back to the station with a truck and bring out spare sets of gear if they're frozen and wet, because a lot of people are going to hype out because they just don't know how to handle it. Like, I just stay frozen for hours and then I'll go try to really warm up, because now if I go get wet and I come back out and I go get wet and I come back out with rehab, having a really good rehab protocol for cold. If you don't have shelters in place or things like that, go buy an ice jack that's got the thermal walls on it and throw a little heater in there so that you can actually rehab people in comfort versus in the back of a cramped truck or an ambulance. Having a little box of really like cheapy yak tracks, or so like the cleats and grippies, so that you can just throw them right over a fire boot. So if you are on ice, you have 15 pairs on the engine or you have 10 pairs on the truck. And now your driver can just hand those out, or you can come over if you're fighting something on the exterior maybe. And now it's just like, we have a sheet of ice. What are we going to do? Throw those on. That's another great thing. Have spare masks. So if you freeze something up or have an SCBA that you can grab right away, throw that back on with a fresh mask so that it's not frozen and you're not trying to fight through that. I think those would be a lot of little things that could really affect you positively, because it's like, great, I have another hood I can go put on and it's warm and not soaking wet or frozen. Or I don't know how many times I have had literally gloves freeze like this.
Yeah.
So having a spare set of gloves and not having to put on extrication gloves that are going to be a lot colder.
Yep.
And then having a plan, like, all the hoses froze. Now what do we do? So having a utility vehicle, having a mutual aid department that can come in that you can just throw that stuff on. So I mean, it might take some thinking outside the box, but really go through your first due, think about that stuff, and have those conversations with everybody so you're all on the same page, or have the department invest a little bit more into that.
Absolutely. It's great because you had so much amazing information in there, but because we're even just a little south in Wisconsin, they're going to latch on, especially the southern folk are going to latch on to the little thing you brushed over with shoveling your roof. And that's because we rarely have to do that here, but it's funny because as soon as you say, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. And I just immediately be like, wait a minute, you got to shovel your roof? What?
But you guys are south of Highway 8, so are you really even in Wisconsin?
Oh boy, I'm not Illinois. I fucking know.
I don't make the rules. I'm just saying the state of Superior starts at Highway 8 and combines with the UP, and
You sound
everything
like
is
my
good.
buddy Giggles.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Now the last part is the question that you've got for our next guest, who is the man, the myth, the legend, Rick George. So, what question would you like to ask Rick?
Rick. I love Rick to death. And I still have a picture somewhere that I sent to him of the container from a cigar he gave us when he first talked at Badger Firemanship Conference, whatever year that was, 2018 maybe. Rick changed my life because the tactical resiliency and how that became such a thing, and his old videos that he had through fire engineering with box breathing and stuff. He is an unbelievable resource, and I cannot say enough good things about him because he's such a genuinely kind person, and he'll sit and take the time to talk to you, and it's wonderful. So, boy, a question for Rick. If you were talking to someone brand new as a cadet in the academy yet, younger person looking to get on the firefighting circuit and get into the academy, go to a job, a volunteer department, career department, doesn't matter, but somebody brand new, what do you feel from your viewpoint of tactical resiliency? What do you feel are the most important things that you could teach them, or the wisdom that you could impart onto them that would make them, whether it be from a physical training side of things, the mental resiliency, or just overall firemanship thing? What are the key things that you would give to that new person that are going to keep them healthy, both physically and mentally, and sound on the street, so that if they're put into a challenging position or they are facing a challenging call that is going to test them, what would be your answer to that? What would you push upon them that things, and this doesn't need to be one thing, this can be like a lot of things, but what are those things that you would teach them and show them to make them a better firefighter for their career?
Awesome.
Absolutely. And I'm sure he's going to have a great answer to that.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm so pumped.
We have talked about it so much. We have had, fortunately, so many of the instructors from him on here. I mean, with Jeremy was started this podcast with us, and now to have Rick on is going to be a great full circle moment, because I know Brendan the same way. Anytime anybody has asked us, we just had the conversation of firemanship. Someone asked us what the best training we've ever taken was, and it's without a doubt every time tactical resiliency. And it's like, you're not gonna learn the newest groundbreaking search technique. No, you're gonna learn how to survive this job. Like there's no weight, no limit. There's nothing that can compare it to that skill that you're gonna learn finishing that class. Like,
if you haven't read the book, go get the book. Please go buy the book, because even if you can't take the class, like I said at the beginning, arm yourself with knowledge. Even if it's something your department's not doing, it could save you. It's something you could impart on other people and save them in the moment. It should be required. Something like that should be required, because it's that good. It really is.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, thank you so much for taking the time to come on and drop some awesome knowledge. It was great seeing you at Firemanship. Everybody, make sure you come to Firemanship, come to something. We didn't touch on it as much, but we have plenty times before. If you want to know about all these conferences, join your local Fools chapter. And as always, of course, don't be a shitbag.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. Don't be a shitbag.